Hello guys, how are we all doing? Welcome back to yet another video. Today we are talking about all of the Premier League latest transfer news up until this day, the 6th of July, and we're going to be ranking each team's Premier League business so far. If you like this video idea, do make sure to drop a like, do subscribe, comment your thoughts down below, and just to show you how this video is going to work, we've got 4 categories: exciting business, good business, steady business, inactive, and all the teams are scattered across the bottom here. We've got to go through each one. Let's get straight into this with Arsenal then. And Arsenal, I've got to say, it's been exciting so far. I'm going to put them straight up in exciting business. Decent players brought in so far. Obviously, Lacazette went out on a free. Guendouzi went out for 10 million. But Fabio Vieira for 34 million could be decent. Matt Turner's come in on an undisclosed. Marquinhos undisclosed. And the big name so far, Gabriel Jesus. They've also been linked with a few other players. So, do you know what? Arsenal are really trying to push themselves back into that top 4 with this business. Good business so far from Arsenal and Mikel Arteta. Next up, we've got Aston Villa, and they're going straight up in exciting as well. Got to say, I've been impressed so far. Diego Carlos, 26 million. Kamara's coming on a free. Robin Olsen, undisclosed. Coutinho got confirmed for 17 million. And Rory Wilson on a free. We've seen a couple of players go. Trezeguet went for a free. Matt Target for 15 million. But plenty of decent players coming in there. They're really trying to build towards being a top 10, possibly a top 8 team. And Villa are going in the right direction. I've been excited so far. They've not even finished all their business. So that's pretty good as of up to today. Next up, we've got Brentford. Inactive, not enough business going on there. In fact, they haven't brought in anyone as of yet. Obviously, the big talking point at Brentford at the moment is Ericsson. And at the time of recording this, it does look like he's going to Manchester United. If he does go, it's a big loss because of what he brought to Brentford, but it also could generate some decent money. And Brentford still had a pretty decent squad without him last season, but you'd like to see a couple more sprinkled on top of that team just to make sure they survive again. Brentford's transfer business is certainly not exciting, but sometimes just keeping the squad you had from the season before could be enough. We'll wait and see with Brentford. I'm sure they'll try and bring in a couple players before the season starts. Next up, you've got AFC Bournemouth. They're going in steady. Bournemouth have brought in Joe Rothwell on a free. Decent player, to be honest. A couple of players have gone out. Robbie Brady on a free. Gavin Kilkenny on the loan. But steady so far. They're not rushing into anything, but you'd like to see them bring in a couple more names before the season starts, because if it's just the Championship team from last year, would that be enough to survive? It could be close. You'd like to think they could add a couple more, especially with the money they've got from being promoted. So we'll wait and see, but Scott Parker's not rushed into anything just yet, but steady so far. Next up, we've got Brighton Hove Albion. I'm going to put them in steady as well. They've brought in Julio Enciso for 9.5 million. Could be a decent player. We'll have to wait and see what he does in the Premier League. A couple of players have gone out. Jason Malumbi, Alex Cochrane, and obviously the big one being Basuma for 35 million. It is a big loss, but that money coming in could be reinvested in this squad, and Brighton already have a decent squad. So steady so far from Graham Potter's Brighton. Next up, we've got Crystal Palace. I'm going to say it's been good business so far. Let me know if you're a Palace fan, of course. They've brought in Malcolm Eboué on an undisclosed from Derby County. Saw glimpses of him. He looks like a real player. He could be exciting. Sam Johnston on a free. That's decent as well. And Francis Hurl has gone out on a free. So not massive amounts of business, but I'd say it's more positive than negative. Crystal Palace fans should be thinking there's been some decent additions to that team, and they've still not finished all their business just yet. Next up, we've got Chelsea. Inactive. Obviously, they've been linked with plenty of players, but as of today, they're not actually signed anyone. Rafinha is a name I'm hearing a lot when it comes to Chelsea. Plenty of players have gone out. Lukaku on loan, Rudiger on a free, Christensen on a free, and they've released a few as well. So not too much to talk about with Chelsea's incomings at the moment. If you're a Chelsea fan, what's your thoughts going into the start of next season, which is only 3 or 4 weeks away? Next up, you've got Leicester City. I'm also going to put in inactive. No signings as of yet, and only one player going out, Tyrese Shade on a free. So considering Leicester finished 8th last year and they want to push on a little bit more and break into that top 7 or 6, I feel like they do need to make a couple of signings, and obviously they do plan to, but nothing so far. It's not the best start to the summer transfer window. Next up, we've got Liverpool. I'm going to put them straight up in exciting. I'm always excited by Liverpool's incomings, because at Liverpool, they are just very good at recruiting. Not too many players have flopped under Jurgen Klopp. Calvin Ramsey has joined for 6.5 million. Darwin Núñez being the big one for 85 million. And Fabio Carvalho, undisclosed from Fulham. Obviously, Mane's gone out for 35 million. And Origi was released, a couple other players as well. But that is exciting. I think another thing you need to mention is Mohamed Salah signing a new contract. That is practically a new signing. Liverpool, very exciting. Next up, Manchester City. It's always going to be exciting at Manchester City with the money they've got. Haaland for 51 million and Calvin Phillips for 50 million. In today's day and age, that's two very decent players they've brought in there. Manchester City won the league last year and they've already added more quality to it. So very exciting. Gabriel Jesus has gone out for 45 million, but yeah, it's shaping up to be a pretty decent squad once again for Manchester City going into the new season. Next up, you've got Everton. I'm going to say it's been good business so far. Not all too much, but Tarkowski coming in on a free. Obviously, I've said before about the relegated teams trying to pick off their best players because Tarkowski was never going to play in the Championship. That's a good signing for Everton. Richarlison's gone for 60 million. I think Everton have done quite well there. As important as Richarlison was, 60 million is a lot of money to bring in and reinvest into that team. Delph, Tosun and Sigurdsson, plenty of players being released there, but pretty decent from Everton so far. Next up, we've got Fulham. I'm going to put them in steady along with Bournemouth. Not all too much business. They've brought in João Paulinho on an undisclosed. Fabio Carvalho, I said, has gone out on an undisclosed, and Anguissa has gone out on an undisclosed. So not massive amounts of business, but it's steady so far. Fulham are trying to keep what was good from last season as much as they can and obviously add more quality to keep them up. Does look like they're going to spend a bit more than they did last time round in the Premier League. So pretty decent. I've seen they've been linked with a couple of other players, so we'll have to wait and see with Fulham, but steady business so far. Next up, Nottingham Forest, and I'm actually going to put them in exciting. Out of the three teams that have been promoted, Nottingham Forest have certainly been the most busy in the transfer window, as probably expected though, with the amount of players they had on loan last season and the fact that they'll need to replace those players. They've brought in Iwaniyi for 17.5 million, Dean Henderson on a loan and Biancone on an undisclosed. So plenty of players coming in there. Obviously not finished all their business just yet as well. Jaden Richardson has gone out on an undisclosed and Ethan Horvath has gone out on a loan. I think it's exciting though. Plenty of incomings and outgoings. That can be a good thing. It could be a bad thing, but I think Forest fans will be looking at next season thinking they trust in Cooper and his recruitment and his coaching. I think it's pretty decent business from Forest so far. Next up, you've got Leeds United. I'm going to put them in steady. I was looking at some of the players they've brought in. Brendan Aronson, Christensen, Mark Roca and Darko Kiabi for 5 million. Calvin Phillips has obviously gone out for 50 million and there's a lot of interest in Rafinha as well. But the players they've brought in, I'd say it's been steady business from Leeds United so far. Next up, you've got Manchester United. I'm going to put it in inactive. Obviously, it does look like they're very close to getting Eriksen, but obviously they've seen plenty of big names go out the door. Lingard, Cavani, Mata, Matic, Pogba, and obviously Ronaldo is an ongoing saga at this point in time. I just don't know what to say for Manchester United. They certainly will bring in some players before the season starts, but if I was a Premier League player wanting to play for a top 6 team, I don't think I'd want to move to Manchester United if I'm being honest. Next up, you've got West Ham United. I'm going to put West Ham in good business. They brought in Aguard for 30 million, Areola and Patrick Kenny. Not a massive amount of outgoings as well, so it's pretty good business from David Moyes' West Ham there. They're trying to build on what they were last season. I think West Ham United, after what they set themselves last season, shouldn't just be looking to hold where they were in about 7th or 8th place. So I think they should be looking to try and crack that top 6. Next up, you got Wolves, and I'm going to say steady, but I'm sure the Wolves fans would like to see more business. Hwang Hee-chan for 10 million is obviously good business, but quite a few players have been released, and to be honest, I think that squad does need freshening up a little bit. I think a few Wolves fans aren't too optimistic going into the next season, so they probably do need more business just to steer clear of that bottom 5 or 6, and yeah, they should be okay again, but we'll wait and see. Next up, you've got Southampton. I'm going to put in good. They brought in Armel Bella Kotchap for 10 million, Bazunu on an undisclosed. Fraser Forster's gone out on a free, so quite a bit of movement there. Southampton, they did just steer clear of the bottom 3 last season. They want to bring in a goal scorer really to try and push them up the table a bit. So the business so far, I'll say, is good, but it's certainly not over yet. Next up, Tottenham Hotspur, one of my favourite clubs for business so far this summer. Straight up in exciting. They have brought in Perisic on a free, Fraser Forster's come in on a free, Basuma for 35 million, and Richarlison for 60 million. Carter Vickers going out on an undisclosed, but the players coming in are certainly catching my attention there. Spurs look like they mean business. Last up, we've got Newcastle United, and obviously with the owners they've got now, I think some people set these unrealistic expectations that they're going to go out and spend 300 million and 400 million, things like that. To be honest, I'd actually say their business has been pretty sensible, and I'd say still exciting. They brought in Matt Targett for 15 million, Pope for 10 million, and Sven Botman for 35 million. There's been a few players released as well, but I think with Newcastle United, you need to look at this and think this is a building process. You can't just chuck loads of quality at this. It needs to build up the table slowly. So they need to make a team ready to compete for the top 7, then maybe the following year the top 4, and then who knows, a couple of years maybe the title. So I think it's sensible so far, and and I'm going to put Newcastle in exciting. Let me know your thoughts down below. If you agree, let me know. If you disagree, let me know. If you've enjoyed the video, make sure to drop a like and do subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.